Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam, and in this video I'm going to be talking about mulch timing. The timing at which you're putting your mulch down and why I pick the end of February to do mine. I'm also going to plant a few of these Autumn Lily Encore Azaleas in my white garden before I mulch. This is a really beautiful variety that has, I hope you can see this, it's white, but a lot of the flowers have that little purple stripe on it. Really a beautiful variety. So I want to talk about why I mulch at the end of February or early March every year. This is a soil thermometer here. I've used it in a few videos for planting pansies and determining the soil temperature, all different types of planting things. In the spring, believe it or not, most weeds germinate based on soil temperature. So something like crabgrass, which is all over the country, germinates when the soil temperature hits somewhere around 60 degrees. Maybe it's slightly less than that, and then really takes off as the soil temperature gets up towards 70 degrees. So right at the end of February or early March, right before those soil temperatures come up that high, I want to get my layer of mulch down. You know, about 3 inches of triple shredded hardwood is what I'm going to put over here in my white garden, and in my front yard I'm going to put some pine straw actually in the back, because my backyard stays kind of wet and that triple shredded hardwood can make it even wetter. So I'm going to put pine straw back here, but I do this right at the end of winter, right before it really gets warm, so that I can seal off that soil from direct sun. It's really, really important. Most people, just because of when they're going to the garden center, or maybe the mulch is on sale at a certain time of the spring or whatever, they're getting their mulch at the same time they're doing a lot of their installations. So you're waiting until mid-April or even the 1st of May, and by then a lot of weed seeds will have germinated. I mean, a lot of weed seeds will germinate, and they may be really, really super small. And putting mulch on top of those when they're already germinated, most of them are going to be able to fight their way up, or a lot of them are going to be able to fight their way up through that mulch. So I like to get this down, prevent the sunlight from reaching the soil. So if you've watched my videos for the last 6 months or so, you know how many things I've planted in my yard. I've really disturbed the soil a lot. I've brought a lot of weed seeds to the top. Mine would be an absolute nightmare if I waited until mid-April to mulch. So I encourage you, to get out there and take care of that task earlier the better every season, and make sure that you've got that soil sealed off. A lot of times I'll come back toward the end of August and I'll do a little more remulching, because it's not too long into September or October that the henbit and chickweed germinate. That's the weed that you're seeing in your yard potentially right now with the little purple flowers on it, or the little tiny white flowers on it. That's the two weeds that take off. Again, they germinate in the fall, and then they sit there for a while through the winter, and then they really take off when it warms up in the spring. They seed themselves like crazy. Crabgrass does the same thing in the spring, and the spring weeds. They'll germinate really early when the soil temperature hits 60 to 70 degrees, and then they kind of sit there for a while until it gets really hot, and then they just take off in the summer and just, go across your beds really, really quickly. So get out there and mulch. The other thing, like I said, I'm going to do in this before I put the mulch down, is I wanted to plant 3 of these Autumn Lily Encore Azaleas. Autumn Lily will actually reach about 4 by 4. This is actually one that will grow in zone 6 to 9, so it's a little more cold hardy than some of the traditional azaleas. You need a little more sunlight on these Encore Azaleas. I've said it a few times. I think you need at least 4 or 5 hours of direct sun, and they will actually take even quite a bit more than that to bloom. This one's going to bloom 3 times a year. It's going to bloom now in the spring, and it's going to bloom in the summer, and it's going to bloom again in the fall. And I really like this variety because, about every second or third flower has that beautiful purple stripe in it. So this one's going to get added to the white garden, and then I'm going to use some triple shredded hardwood mulch around them. So here are these Autumn Lily Encore Azaleas planted. A couple other benefits on the mulch. Number one, it regulates the moisture in between rains and watering. It does a good job of holding water in place. You can end up holding too much water in place sometimes if you've got the plants planted too low and you mulch up on the tops of the plants. You can end up kind of drowning them. I've got these elevated about 1 inch, and then I just pulled the mulch up to the edge of that, and there's no mulch around the stems at all here. The other thing that the mulch does a good job of is regulating the soil temperature. And this is important on azaleas and quite a few plants, really. A lot of plants have fibrous root systems that are near the surface, and azaleas fall into that category of plants. And mulch will help regulate the soil temperature. It keeps those roots cooler in the summer and keeps those roots warmer in the winter time. So it does a good job with that, and it's especially effective, like I say, on azaleas Pieris, rhododendrons. There's a lot of plants that would fall into that category. So thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for future videos.